Sam was a beloved member of the Washington University School of Medicine.
He was personable, caring, sensitive, and a great medical doctor.
I have to say that Sam showed up as himself in every one of the interactions with me. Inquisitive, bright, driven, inspiring, good-humored. And I have to say, I will carry that forward always.
Sam was fun to be with. He told great stories, was still quite busy working at various responsibilities, but he had always made time and a concerted effort to advance the work of the Brown School and to advise about the path forward.
Sam was very passionate about his work and had a background from his teaching and faculty at Mass General and Harvard, and he brought all of his skills and all of his beliefs for a better university at Washington University and contributed in more meaningful ways than we could count.
Sam was very precise, decisive, really cut to the kernel of a problem and could help you solve it. And I think from that perspective, he was always someone that would give you cogent advice and thoughtful ways of approaching challenges.
I think of Sam as a 360-degree person. He was very smart, very expert at what he does, very wise, like somebody you always went to for good counsel. But he's also very humble. People who know him, he's very soft-spoken. And he's very engaged in the moment with who you are and what you're working on.
He was a great friend, a great family member, a great advocate for medicine, a great advocate for public health. His accomplishments were numerous and very significant. I'm very proud that I had the opportunity to come to know him, and I know that he cared deeply about the progress of the Brown School.
He came to Washington University with a background second to none to help us at the National Council. His care for the human condition manifested itself in numerous ways, and he really was part of the think tank of how we were able to evaluate and advance many of the initiatives for public health.
I can say that my dad absolutely loved WashU. He loved WashU. And as you've probably heard, he did not go to WashU. And as you also may have heard, I'm the only one of the siblings who actually went to WashU. My brother and sister went to wonderful Ivy League schools, but Ivy League, Schmivy League, it didn't matter when it came to WashU. My dad knew that this was arguably the greatest school in America.
He had a unique understanding of the business of medicine, public health, and the importance of academic medicine. In particular, the nuances of how education and research established a culture of improvement essential for the future of better health in the community.
One of the things I talked about in Dad's memorial was that there was kind of a paradox to him, which is that everything could be better. He pushed himself, he pushed his kids, he drove architects and car dealers and contractors and appraisers and, as I said, his kids crazy because everything could be better. You could do better on this assignment. You could do better in this sports team. But it was leavened by this other thing that he had going on, which is that at the same time as everything could be better, everything was perfect.
This group obviously knows that my dad was the utmost professional and he was so brilliant, but they probably don't know some of his quirkier side. So my dad loved animals, especially cats. And I used to go to cat shows with him. Like you picture Best in Show with the dogs, they had that for felines. And I grew up with 3 cats, and we had 2 cats at the time, and my mom really asked that we not get any more, bring any more home. She did not like them. And my dad and I went to a cat show when I was like 10. And he fell in love with this exotic breed. It was a combination type cat. And we brought it home.
He had a lot of passions outside of work. He worked hard. He worked all the time. But he loved gardening. He loved swimming. He loved going for jogs. Even more than he loved going for jogs, he loved delaying going for jogs. So he would putter around the house in a Bill Rogers tracksuit with his New Balance shoes, just munching on one more strip of bacon before he went out for a jog.
One thing I really love about my dad that's so special is he was as comfortable in a garden wearing 10-year-old sneakers as he was in a boardroom. He was a Renaissance man in many ways, just as far as his range of what he was interested in, what he knew about. So his knowledge was so beautiful, but I really do have so many great memories of him in his garden, in Martha's Vineyard, and in Massachusetts, or in Boston, Massachusetts, where I grew up, and he had a garden as well, and just a lot of great memories of him producing wonderful things from the earth.
Sam really felt that medical science and medical advances should impact everybody. He was a strong proponent of addressing the disparities that we see.
His deep commitment to the health and well-being of all, his leadership in and his vision of having health-oriented organizations and partnerships not only succeed but innovate.
I had the occasion to get some genuinely personal help and advice from Sam, and he is just very, very wise. I can't equate his personality and investment in his friends and his causes with anybody else I know.
He was really interested in people. Like, he wasn't faking it at a cocktail party when he would follow this line of this conversation all the way to the type of agar used in someone's petri dish for whatever science experiment, and they could have been a Nobel laureate or an 8th grader. He truly was just fascinated in every detail of everything and would remember it.
People have asked what lessons I'll bring forward from his life into my own, and I find myself chuckling because I can't help it. I'm becoming him. I think about when I push my daughters, I hear his voice pushing me on my math homework. He
was a lot softer as a grandfather than even as a father. I think we always felt these sort of rigid standards, and he was a little bit of a pusher in terms of academic achievement and athletic achievement. But with our children, he just had a soft spot for them.
He loved curling up with the grandkids. We have pictures of him constantly falling asleep as he helped put the kids to bed.
He was the most amazing grandfather, and he's such a special person. He's not just a regular guy. There's nothing basic about my dad. He was incredibly special. And I guess everyone must feel that way about their father, or I hope everybody feels that way about their fathers. But my dad really was unique and special, soft-spoken, warm, philanthropic, brilliant, and loving. And I miss him very much.
So I think I've really taken from him the ability to live in the moment as best I can without being worried about what's to come or what's in the rearview mirror. He always wanted me to move forward and show up in ways that were often uncomfortable. But I've taken that with me now. If I have a question and I'm in a group setting, I will ask. And I will ask because he would always ask.
Obviously, I will try to bring forward into my life his love of everything, his sense of gratitude that everything was the best, but his constant desire for improvement, his constant desire to make everything better, even as he recognized that a lot of things were pretty wonderful.